Welcome back, viewers. You're watching Defense Pulse with me, Shivan Janna. This is your 360-degree insight into the future of warfare. Let's first look at the latest developments. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh lays the foundation stone for the T-Series tank overhauling project in Jabalpur at a cost of 450 crore rupees. The project is expected to boost self-reliance in the maintenance and production of defense equipment. India and the UK are deepening defence cooperation with a major focus on fighter engine technology, naval propulsion and defence startups. The two sides are also working towards co-developing integrated full electric propulsion for 4 Indian Navy landing platform docks. India gets its first public-private defence avionics facility as Hindustan Aeronautics Limited and Samtel Avionics inaugurated the new manufacturing facility in Gurugram. The new facility will house testing and quality assurance capabilities for advanced display systems. US Navy's future missiles presentation included photos of the MACE compact hypersonic glide weapons integration on a FA-18 Super Hornet fighter. The US Navy is close to introducing its first air-launched hypersonic missile on the fighter fleet. Taiwan's opposition-controlled parliament votes to spend $1.26 billion on military drones annually, but rejected a government plan for a special budget. The government said that it plans to buy about 210,000 drones. And the battlefield is changing. It's changing faster than the rules can really come up for it. Machines are no longer just carrying weapons. They are increasingly helping decide where those weapons go. The UN and the Red Cross are warning that autonomous weapons could make life and death decisions with little or even no human control. America is building AI into its kill chain. Ukraine is turning the battlefield into an AI laboratory. And India is racing to close the gap as well. There's more in this next report. Take a look.
A drone spots a target. An algorithm identifies it. Another system tracks it. A weapon moves into position. The frightening question is no longer whether artificial intelligence can find a target. It is how much of the decision to kill can be handed over to a machine. That future is already arriving. The United Nations and the International Committee of the Red Cross are again calling for legally binding rules on lethal autonomous weapons.
These are weapons that, once activated, select and engage targets without further human interventions. Weapons of this kind already exist. But we are particularly concerned by the direction in which these technologies are moving. Weapons controlled by increasingly complex artificial intelligence, whose functioning may become harder for human operators to understand and anticipate.
Leading voices are calling for meaningful human control over decisions involving the use of force. America has already moved AI into the military decision chain. The Pentagon's Project Maven uses artificial intelligence to analyze huge volumes of imagery and help identify objects of military interest. It has used AI massively during its attacks on Iran. Newer battlefield software is pushing towards faster targeting by connecting intelligence, sensors and weapons. China is also demonstrating the scale of the coming drone war. Chinese forces have showcased a single operator controlling and rapidly launching large numbers of drones, pointing towards swarm warfare where hundreds of machines can overwhelm conventional defenses. At World Humanoid Robot Games in Beijing, China's humanoid robots are stealing the show, but a quieter machine revolution is unfolding. Then there is Ukraine. The war has become a brutal testing ground for military AI. Ukrainian and Western companies are developing and using systems that can recognize targets, navigate drones, and process battlefield information at extraordinary speed.
Our systems indeed can characterize as autonomous. Obviously, there is a human in the loop, so missions are planned, targets are identified either at the ground or of course in the air when there is aerial threats coming for interception. So these targets are designated by humans, but the system thereafter is our systems are able to navigate fully autonomous with the help of the onboard AI solutions to engage on the target.
Britain and Ukraine have now signed an AI defense partnership aimed at developing and deploying battlefield technology. The advantage is simple. Machines can process information faster than humans. They can watch multiple feeds. They do not get tired, but they can also make mistakes at machine speed, and that brings the fight to India. The Indian Army has already displayed AI-based weapon systems, while Indian defense planners are working on autonomous surveillance, target recognition, drones, and battlefield decision support technologies. AI weapons remain one of the most sensitive areas of military technology. Software can help find, track, and reach a target faster than a human operator working alone, but the reliability, accountability, and rules around using AI in attacks need to be sorted out sooner rather than later. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
And to discuss this further with me, I'm now being joined by Lieutenant Colonel Daniel L. Davis, military expert and host of Daniel Davis Deep Dive on YouTube. Lieutenant Colonel Davis, always a pleasure. Thanks so much for joining me here on Defense Pulse. Let's start right off, sir. Ukraine, the Russia-Ukraine front, it's become a laboratory for drone warfare, and AI has really been, it has seen a major boost across these last 4+ years now. For America, what kind of lessons is US drawing in the AI domain from the ongoing war in Ukraine?
Well, if I'm just being honest with you, we're really slow to the game, and we're taking attention to some, but we seem to be too unwilling to let go of legacy capabilities and the way we've always done things. It's always worked. Why change it? But they want to tinker around the edges, and they want to add some experts to the side and say, yeah, well, let's add this to what we're doing, as opposed to, all right, what we've been doing is for the last century warfare. We need to get rid of it completely and go into a completely new one based on a comprehensive view of how the entire battlefield is working, the manned component, the unmanned, the ground, the air, all that, the AI, the missiles. Everything needs to be integrated together so that you can come up with a new way to fight, not just the component parts. AI is an indispensable part of that, but it's only one of many parts. And if you don't have a holistic view and a strategy of where you want to go to get there and how to incorporate all that, you may find yourself getting left behind.
Understood. But when we look at what comes next, AI, it's playing an increasing role in industries across the world. Of course, the military AI use is also going to be seeing more and more relevance going forward. How far are we from seeing AI entering the official kill chain? Can we ever envision a time, or do you envision a time, where human involvement can, in fact, even become non-existent in this kill chain command and AI decides it autonomously?
Yeah, I honestly think that's inevitable. I think that we're probably getting very close to that. I do. I actually first wrote about this a long time ago, almost 20 years ago, in 2007 in the Armed Forces Journal, when I was part of the Future Combat Systems, where we were already talking about autonomous systems, and we didn't use the term AI back then. It was a technological development, but it was the same thing. Who makes the decision? Does the machines make it or do man make it? And we talked about, or in the article, I talked about the moral imperatives to maintain control of it. In your segment, you just showed a minute ago some of the risk that machines can make mistakes sometimes and at machine speed that could go beyond what anybody wants to do. So it is absolutely vital to keep that away, at least as long as possible. But there's going to come a time to where people can calculate, that's a risk I'm willing to take, and they'll make things automated, and it's going to rapidly accelerate the ability to kill and the effectiveness to kill. But whether that achieves objectives is a separate question.
That raises a lot of questions, Lieutenant Colonel, because that can also escalate matters more than they could really let diplomacy play its way out if we allow that kill chain to be infiltrated by AI and let it do it autonomously. But if you had to identify the single most possible capability from AI that will change warfare most dramatically over the next decade or even the next 5 years, what would that be in your appreciation?
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't go as far as the next decade because the changes are coming so rapidly, especially because of what's going on in Russia-Ukraine. There's significant resources all across the world, not just between Russia and Ukraine, to accelerate the process of doing that, of discovering the next technology and then iterating, et cetera. So I think it's going on very fast. But it looks like right now the biggest change is going to be in the drone warfare. Certainly the ballistic missiles are going to be an issue, but a lot of those fly so fast that there's not a lot of AI that's going to make a lot of difference once you punch the launch button. But the drones are a separate matter, and increasingly, and then right after the drones would be the ground robots that are armed, because once they are sent on their path, there's no more humans in the link, and they're going to move on, especially some of these coming out of China. I think with these swarm drones, that's what concerns me the most because of the capacity of these things to swarm in on attack. There's a lot of people in the West already talking about, oh, we're going to have these lasers that are going to be able to knock out drones. You can knock out one drone with a laser. You got to find the next one. But if you have a swarm of them, unless you have a swarm of lasers also with extraordinary amounts of power necessary, that's not going to be a good effect. So I worry most about the drones and second about ground armed robots.
And very quickly, let me also get your assessment. Should there be a hard red line where a machine can never be allowed to decide that a human being is a legitimate target?
I mean, you can argue there should be, and I did argue that there should be, but I mean, just the way technology's development and the way man has fought war for eons, they're going, as soon as they get to a chance where killing is easy, they're going to take it.
Lieutenant Colonel, this definitely requires. This is changing. And as you mentioned, we don't need to really look as far as 10 years from now. It's changing really rapidly. 5 years or even the next year is going to really be changing a lot of things on the active battlefield because wars are continuing and the technology is evolving as fast. Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, always a pleasure speaking with you. Thanks so much for joining in.
Thank you.
Artificial intelligence, as we are talking about it, it is rapidly changing the architecture of modern warfare, and the next arms race may not be about who has the biggest missile or the most fighter jets. It could be about who has the smartest algorithm. From autonomous drones and intelligence surveillance to electronic warfare, target recognition, and battlefield decision-making, AI is moving closer to the heart of military operations. A battlefield where satellites, drones, and radars, they detect a threat, AI identifies it, and commanders are presented with options, all within seconds. The Indian military is increasing its focus on AI, autonomous systems, cyber capabilities, space technologies, and data-driven decision-making as essential elements of future warfare. The Indian Army has already experimented with indigenous autonomous weapon systems under mission Swayat, while AI-driven tools are also being explored for logistics, equipment maintenance, and operational decision-making. India's defense innovation ecosystem is expanding too. 676 startups, MSMEs, and innovators had joined the IDEX ecosystem by March of this year. But the challenge is much bigger than this. Can India connect sensors, shooters, commanders all into one intelligent network? And critically, how much decision-making should ever be handed over to a machine? That remains a question, because the AI arms race has begun. But the question is no longer whether AI will change warfare. The question is India ready?
Trained in aerospace engineering at Virginia Tech, Soham Dediya is the founder and CEO of Auric AI Technologies, a company building AI systems for India's defense and intelligence establishment. Soham worked on unmanned systems research before turning his focus to national security technology. He now leads a team of researchers and engineers building AI systems that turn raw, disconnected data into intelligence that can be acted on.
I'm joined by Soham Dediya, founder and CEO, Auric AI Labs. Soham, pleasure speaking with you. Let's start right off. We've often heard that AI will transform warfare, but take me beyond the buzzwords. What will an AI-enabled battlefield actually look like 5 or maybe 10 years from now, and which military operations will change the most?
So one, I think any projection that is, 5 or 10 years has to be taken with a grain of salt because of how fast things are changing.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, I think the core thing that AI enables is a connection between a lot of disconnected systems. So say a signals intercept versus an air defense radar and a satellite image. AI enables you to correlate all of these three things, connect that with an unmanned system, maybe a drone, maybe a ground-based unmanned system, and enable it to take some action autonomously. So I think we'll see a very, very connected battlefield where not only information but decisions are also connected and to a large degree automated.
Understood. When we come to Auric AI, Soham, let's start with that also. What military problem are you fundamentally working to solve at this point? And eventually, what can AI do today that conventional military systems are not able to achieve?
Again, at Auric AI, our thesis is very simple. Collection of information, a collection of intelligence is expanded a lot. In fact, recently I saw your program on the SBS-3 satellites are being put in orbit. And there are a huge number of sensors being deployed. But the challenge is all of these are not connected. And all of them, are talking in different languages. AI enables all of them to be connected. So at Auric AI, what we do, our thesis is take a large volume of unstructured data from a variety of sources and make sense out of it. So currently what we are doing, we are building intelligence systems that can connect information from a large number of sources. So satellite imagery, drone imagery, signals intelligence, human intelligence, financial intelligence, and creating a common intelligence picture which combines all sources.
Understood. So, you mentioned it right away. Let me just put it again. All this information that's coming in and there is intelligence that's coming in from satellites, as you mentioned, from drones. Then there are troops. Then there are overground workers. Then there are all these sources which are sending out a lot of intelligence. Can AI fuse it together and then provide an actionable intelligence to a commander on the ground or to a soldier or eventually somebody who needs to execute the order?
Absolutely. And that's exactly what we are trying to do at Auric AI. So fuse information from a lot of sources which might seem very disconnected into a common picture. So as you said, the intelligence becomes very actionable. Now I'll give you an example, right? Suppose there is a large troop movement. There will be satellite imagery. There might be some signal intercepts. There might be some human reports, and there might be some procurement logs that the enemy has. Now these 4 or 5 things might seem very disconnected, but they are about the same activity. So our goal, what we are trying to do is fuse all of these so you have one single piece of information which combines everything. So it is much more holistic and it makes it much more actionable.
So, absolute pleasure speaking with you. Thanks so much for making time.
Thank you for your time.
All right, viewers, that's our show for today. This is Defense Pulse. Join us again tomorrow, 7 p.m. IST. I'm Shivan John.